You know I'm spoiled. Hey guys, today I was on the horns of a dilemma. There may never be a shit hit the fan event. Dude, he's huge. I think it's half the size of one of my fingers. Good morning. I am painting some test tiles so that we can see what the colors look like when they're fired to cone 6, which is so hot. The plumber was here. The plumber's assistant was in the backyard working on the spigot. He noticed that I've got these guys, primitive pottery kiln and a rocket stove. And he said, those are so cool. He said, I've seen that primitive technology guy. You know, the whole thing about the shorts and builds the axe and then builds the house and that whole crap. I was like, yeah, I love that guy. And he's like, oh yeah, and I love Survival Lily and I've got a bug out bag and blah, blah, blah. This guy's at my house. And he can see some of my self-reliant tools, such as, it's pretty obvious I have a garden and chickens, a couple other things. From the backyard, you can see my solar panels, you can see my water tank, you can see that I'm a little bit kind of interested in self-sufficiency, which is a bad thing for your neighbors or the people who show up to know. Now, here's a guy who's also somewhat self-sufficient. Would it have been appropriate or safe for me to say to the guy, hey, I have a YouTube channel too? Because maybe he could get just a little too much information about me. You know, not only does he see my backyard, but he's local and he knows my address. You know what I mean? Like, so at what point, where do you draw the line on social media between what people are allowed to know? Now, I'm just getting into this, you know, I'm still learning a lot and I don't have a year's supply of food. I don't have a battery for my solar panels even. You know, I'm building things a little at a time. It just might not happen, and that would be great, but in my lifetime, I've seen different countries' currencies collapsing, about the things that happened. I've seen a lot of different wars happen. There's a lot of crap going on in the world. The US is in the most horrendous level of debt it's ever been in. We are in uncharted territory, aren't we, Henry? It's a good time to be prepared. How do you protect yourself? How do you decide, hey, do I tell that guy I have a channel? No, because then he could be too much in my business and he knows where I live. That's a bad combination, right? I originally didn't want to have a YouTube channel because I thought, well, why would I tell anybody what I'm doing? I've learned so much from doing this and been encouraged. I am trying to balance safety with having a great life. And I don't want to spend every day thinking, oh my God, somebody's going to come and take what little I have. Sometimes I've had the weird thought, like, well, if I just didn't have anything, nobody would have anything to get. Like, I want to be a minimalist. I want stuff. I want there to be a supply of food. I want to feel safe. I mean, you have to judge people. You have to make decisions. Later on, I'm watching Stefan Molyneux. Whether you agree with it or not, the United States has been at war with different countries in the Middle East. And to then invite in the victims of that war, the people who have lost everything and are displaced, and to invite them into your country, that's suicide. Are you kidding me? Of course you need to vet these people. Why are we letting them in at all? Not that there's anything wrong with those people, but why would you open yourself up to finding out if there's something wrong with those people and their attitudes? But once we go in, if we ever invade North Korea, hell no, you don't want those people here. There's lots of other places on the earth where they can scatter to. Don't invite your victims to your dinner party. There's a place for being friendly, and there's a place to kind of draw a line. And I just go with my gut sometimes. I didn't think anything. I mean, nice guy. Interested in the same stuff I am. Fun, you know? But I just don't know. Sometimes if I feel like there's a question, I just try and err on the side of safety. It's going to change the colors a little bit, and so I would like to have little test tiles to kind of tell me, you know, which yellow I prefer and that kind of thing. Sometimes it feels like a waste to use my organic homegrown cotton to take off my nail polish, but what else am I going to do with it? It's one thing that I just can't be real sustainable about, and that is can't really make fabric. If the shit hits the fan and there's a whole lot of people that just die off right at first, there's gonna be a lot of fabric laying around. Just make more clothes out of that, if you, or patch it or whatever.
I'd be the patching lady. I do a lot of patching.
Working on
Patching.
Okay. She's pretty well set out, ready to dry now. She holds toothpicks. It was a matter of necessity that we got these fixed. It was running constantly, and the water here is really expensive. If you are or were on YouTube and you talked about the kinds of topics that I talk about, like survival and shit hit the fan and preparedness, self-reliance, self-sufficiency, what kind of precautions would you take in the age of the internet? I don't want to paint a target on my back. You like to peck at feet, don't you? Oh. The plumber said that he knows somebody, or that he's willing to take a rooster off our hands. So once we know for sure whether Dean Cain there's a rooster or not, trying to get in my shade. Well, why don't we put your food in the shade? You can eat from the shade. Here, put your food in there. Oh, water's nice and cool. Okay, girls. Onions have a very strong smell. Therefore, well, those are dry. So after the wind blew away one of the trays, this is how many green onions I got. Didn't pack them in too hard because I kind of wanted them to stay big pieces in case I want to float them in soup or put them in meatloaf or anything like that. And I labeled it. Got some source material.
Massive.
Little more close-up rooster.